Good morning, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here in my flat in Rochester, Kent, and it's Tuesday. So I had a really lovely day out yesterday at Whitstable. So I got up yesterday morning and I knew where I was going. I was a bit nervous because I was meeting someone on a train, a couple of people. So I had an electronic ticket because they're easier. Those paper tickets, you can lose them. So I had an electronic ticket, and you've just got to make sure your phone is charged up, because if the battery dies, then your ticket, you're relying on your phone for the ticket. So if it dies, you can't use it, can you? So I had to make sure that I had at least some battery charged to use my ticket. So I went out of my flat about 10:30 and I went into the Co-op first. I thought, fuck it, get my newspaper, get a couple of drinks and a chocolate bar, and I did. And the lady that I used to speak to was in there, and she went out the back, and a young lady with glasses served me. And got my stuff, went out the shop. I didn't feel miserable. And but beforehand, Charlie with his bucket hat has obviously come out of the Co-op. I didn't see his dog with him. I didn't see Samir at all. Just Charlie was on his own with his bucket hat, and he was hovering towards the railway station where I was going. He was actually hovering near the railway station. He turned around, looked at me, then he walked off. Carried on walking to the station, went through the doors, and my ticket wouldn't go through the first barrier. So the guy, nice chap, said to me, try the next one. Ticket went through. I went up the stairs to this platform 2, and there was a load of train delays, and basically I was waiting for somebody. They were going to get out of the train and I was going to get in it, but a train came before that train. I got on the wrong train, and I had to talk to one of the guys on the train, and the guy on the train told me to get off at Chatham because the train going to Ramsgate was stopping at Chatham. So I got off at Chatham. The train to Dover went, train to Ramsgate, a couple of minutes behind that one, and I got on it. And the people that I was meeting was on there, and everything was cool. It's not very long from Rochester railway station to Whitstable. It's quite a nice journey as well. It wasn't too bad. The train wasn't overloaded and it wasn't too stressful. So we all got off at Whitstable, and it's a 10-15 minute walk to the beach. And to start with, it was cool and overcast, but as the day drew on, it got really, really hot and quite unbearable, even in Whitstable by the sea. So basically we had about a 15 minute walk to Whitstable Beach, and we went into the Lobster Shack because by the time we arrived in Whitstable, it was lunchtime. You know, by the time we'd walked to the Lobster Shack. It's one of the best places to eat in Whitstable, and Whitstable is famous for oysters. Oysters. Something that I can't eat really, but so my goodness, I had fish, chips, peas, like tartar sauce, a drink, and a small carton of drink and a cup of tea. Who I was with, they had lobster. To start with, they had lobster, like a lobster, and bits and pieces on the plate, and oysters. They had lobster and oysters. I enjoyed the fish was a bit hard, but I ate it. Just left a little piece. It was the batter, it was quite hard, but the fish was tasty. I enjoyed the chips were delicious, and the peas were lovely as well. So it was, I had a great meal. I tasted a bit of the lobster, and it tasted a tiny bit tangy. I haven't eaten lobster before, so it was a bit tangy. It tasted nice to start with, and at the end it was a bit tangy. I had a bit of non-alcoholic cider. It was non-alcoholic. It actually tasted like cider though, and the way they presented the food was absolutely magnificent. The way they presented it, it was wonderful. And then we ordered a seafood, like a seafood platter with the whole lot. So you had salmon, winkles, more oysters, cockles, the whole prawns, king prawns with their eyes on and everything. I didn't order it. Who I was with ordered it, and great big seafood platter with everything on it, seafood you can imagine. And I didn't want to taste the winkles, but I thought, right, you only live once, right? So a winkle, it's a shellfish. So you get a pin or a toothpick, and you have to pick it out of the shell and eat it, and it's very chewy. Max. So I ate one. I ate one winkle. I didn't eat any oysters. I had some salmon, and I ate my fish dinner, and I was full up after that. I couldn't have eaten anything else, and they also gave you Lurpak butter and bits of bread. So the way it was prepared was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And the thing was, I could have taken Max. Everything was dog friendly, so you could take the dog into the restaurant. You could take the dog outside the restaurant. We sat near it's like a little pier, and we sat right next to the water, so we had a lovely view. But it was very, very hot by that time, because between 12 and midday the sun's at its highest and hottest, and we were starting to get a bit sunburned on our backs, so we went inside to the restaurant and ate the rest of the meal. But it was enjoyable, it was lovely, the staff were brilliant, and the food was presented really, really well. And Whitstable is all about oysters. You can have a tour of all the how they do all the oysters. We saw all the oyster nets, all the oyster shells, loads of oyster shells all over the place. And yeah, you can have a tour and learn about how they get the oysters and everything. It was really, really wonderful. And yeah, if you've got dogs, you can take your dogs to Whitstable and take them in the shops. Yeah, it's absolutely dog friendly, Whitstable. There's dogs on the beach. The only one slight thing that pissed me off was there was a man walking two dogs, and he was obviously a bit high as a kite, and he was smoking a doobie, green, and there was a bit of a to-do where a dog was getting quite with another dog, but that was the only thing that I can remember that was a slightly pissed me off a bit. A bloke smoking cannabis right towards us, and then a dog started growling at another dog. But you're going to get cannabis everywhere you go, everywhere anyway, but there was only one person that I could smell smoking it down there. We walked from the restaurant. I got an ice cream. It was called Bunny Ears. Bunny Ears. It was like a normal cone with 2 flakes, and it was called Bunny Ears. I had an ice cream that I haven't had off the ice cream van in ages, and then we just walked around and sat on the beach, and had a good go at fishing on the beach. Didn't catch anything. It was really hot on the beach, really, really hot. The sun was very hot. Dipped my feet in the water, took a few videos and pictures, thoroughly enjoyed myself at retreat from this place, because this place had been getting me down really badly. The stress of living here had been getting me down, and it was so nice. No, Max. It was so nice to get a break from this place. Sorry, pets will be pets. I've got a cat that is trying to tear up my pillow, and a dog that's chasing after the cat. No. And they always try and do it in front of the camera, right? He's needing the pillow. Anyway, so from the beach, the sun was too hot, so we wanted to go somewhere in the shade for a coffee. We ended up walking up a hill, and then we found Whitstable Castle. But we thought it was going to be cool inside the castle, but there was a load of people in there. It was incredibly hot. So we took a few pictures outside Whitstable Castle, walked through the castle and the grounds, very pretty. And then we ended up walking back towards the train station, and what I initially wanted to do was walk down Whitstable High Street and look at the shops and that sort of area, but we'd walked 10 minutes the other way, so it was really nearly time to go home. But we stopped, and I got a couple of souvenirs, a windmill, a starfish, and a Whitstable crab magnet. And then we stopped and had like a strawberry berry iced latte mix, and I had a nice lolly as well. So we sat down for a bit, had our drink, nice and ice cold with ice in it, well presented again. And we sat. It was a nice view, glass window. We had a nice view of the boats outside, and yeah, thoroughly brilliant time. Absolutely. And then it was time to go home, like a half an hour wait for the train to go back home, so we waited at Whitstable station for half an hour, and then I came home to Rochester, which wasn't too bad. The journey home wasn't too bad. It was quite quick. Got off the railway station. My electronic ticket went through the barrier. My phone was on about 19%, but it went through the barrier. Came home and got into my flat, and I just rested for a bit, made myself a cup of tea, rested, and waited for me to take Max out. And as I put in a previous video, you know you've come back to where you've come back from because the shit starts to happen again, right? And I don't know whether it was because I was with people yesterday and I didn't notice things, so it didn't get me down as much. But as soon as I get back to this place, I've got the fear of dread in my belly. The fear of dread. And when I came home, there was nothing. But when he came home again upstairs 2 minutes after me, 2 minutes after me he came in upstairs, right like he was on my tail. Yeah, when I go out in the evening, the trouble starts. People being rude to me after he comes home. Like, ugh, and belch. And I'm only saying, whether it's a coincidence or whatever, but I was belched at twice by a big large man in a grey baseball cap. And no one had belched at me in Whitstable. No one had been rude to me in Whitstable. Not that I was aware of. But whether someone's telling people to be rude and nasty to me, I haven't got a clue. They carry on imitating and taking the piss. There was a woman on the train opposite, and she had her mouth wide open like my mother. She had her mouth wide open. You know, my mum, when I go around to see my mum, she used to do it when my dad was alive. She used to sit there, fall asleep with her mouth wide open. So there was a woman opposite us on the train home, falling asleep with her mouth wide open. And then there was like her daughter opposite her with a hood over her head, led down over the table. So when I came back from walking Max, I didn't let that rude bloke upset me. Apparently this is an occurrence a lot for women all over the place. Some men are spitting at them, apparently. There's men spitting at women. Men spitting at women. And I wouldn't be a jogger. I wouldn't be a jogger if you paid me. The things that female joggers go through, single female joggers go through, jogging through parks and places, getting abuse, and all they're doing is jogging. People keep saying to me, put earphones on. Put earphones on, you won't hear it. I wouldn't have heard that man belching probably if I'd have had music on. I can't wear earphones. I've tried wearing earplugs, but I just don't get on with them, so I'll have to continue to hear this crap that I don't want to hear, I suppose. It's not just only me. There are a lot of men out there that don't like women for some reason, or I'm not going into it, but I'm just saying they've got their reasons for acting that way towards women. I did a video about domestic violence, and it's not always men against women. Women can domestically abuse men. Same genders can abuse each other. It's a general thing. It's not just men against women, but if you speak up about things, people take it the wrong way and think you're against the certain. It's nothing like that. I'm just genuinely against domestic violence, whoever perpetrates it. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, belching, burping at me and like taking the piss because I'm standing up for people's rights, okay, go ahead and treat me like shit, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. Never in a million years. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. This week in 1965, the Rolling Stones released I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Keith Richards claims he wrote the song in his sleep. I bet that was one satisfying dream.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
Good morning, Crystal. The time is 8:45 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Tuesday, the 3rd of June.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, it's 15 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has showers, with a high of 18 degrees and a low of 9 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
Why are cats afraid of trees? Because of the bark.
And Alexa, who was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 3rd of June include Pierre Poilievre, Rafael Nadal, George V, Jill Biden, and Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani.
Right, guys, so yesterday I went to Whitstable. It wasn't that bad. It was actually quite enjoyable and relaxing. And I'm glad that I had a relaxing, stress-free day, because then I come back to this place. I've made myself a cup of coffee. I'm relaxing, taking each day as it comes, and that's all I can do. I'm glad I went. I'm actually glad I went. And I actually tried a seafood that I hadn't tried before, and done some things that I hadn't done before. And I went to a place that I hadn't been to in 15 years. I hadn't been to Whitstable since 2011. And because my sister died in 2011, Amanda did, of multiple sclerosis. I have got loads to write up in my journal, loads that I can't even, it'll come to me and I won't be able to do a video about it, so I'll write it down. I've got loads and loads to write down. That happened. You describe people in books, don't you? So the people that served me, what happened, I would describe it in my diary. And it is my diary. And I'm happy. If people want to belch at me and take the piss, that's their prerogative. But I'll still keep going as long as I can. See you later.